Hello, everybody. I am here with That's No Moon.
Hello, is this my part where I need to talk?
Yeah, you just say hi there. Say hi to the kind folks. Hey, Yogbear, how's it going? We are.
Welcome all. Just a quick reminder, I won't be able to see anything on stream or in chat, so Army is going to read out anything interesting that's in chat for me, and I won't be able to see the teams that are on screen either. So,
Yeah,
so he's going to walk me through it, holding my hand. Don't worry.
absolutely. We'll just walk hand in hand. I see a Rance. I see Moggs. I see Cody. I see Yogbear. We've got a whole gang. That is fantastic. Uh, Deoxy says don't say hi to Yogbear because he sucks, which seems kind of rude. But okay, I have toxic mods. Just absolutely toxic mods. So the first thing that we're going to do here, we're going to be discussing Galaxy of Heroes, Grand Arena Championships, and doing some in-depth look at defenses. This is episode 2. We did the first episode about a week ago. I thought it went pretty well. It seemed to be pretty well received. One thing that I tried to do to improve it this time is instead of screenshots of my defense, I actually recorded a video of me setting my defense and I attempted to sort of explain what my thought process was. So I think that would be a good place to sort of start this stream off by just watching that video and talking to myself in the past. So, without further ado, let's get to it.
All right, here we go. Looks like I've got a feet. Claim that. Start the video. All right, so we're gonna go in here and set our defenses. So we are at 3v3, which is an interesting difference from the usual 5v5. There's a lot more theory crafting that can go into here, but I've also found in the past that people typically set too strong a defense and then they don't have enough to clear on offense. We'll set ships first. That's simple because I've got the two strongest fleets and then one is stronger than the other. I save the stronger for offense. I put the weaker one on defense. Done. Easy peasy. It gets cleared every time, but that doesn't, well, not every time, but typically it's going to get cleared. Doesn't really matter. So I spent a lot of time going over 3v3 teams that I like, that I think I like, and part of trying to get full clears here is going to be um, trying to get some solo wins. Like Gas can solo, Malik can solo, Ness can solo. So even if somebody's in a team like this, it doesn't necessarily mean that I plan on using them. We'll see that on the stream later or earlier, rather, because I'm in the future right now. Hi, this was me on May 13th, but you won't be seeing this until I don't know, a week from now. And then I have different variations of the same teams. Obviously, all four of these aren't going to be used. All these characters once. So I'm thinking, what I'm thinking for this bottom territory here, I want to not necessarily put my strongest, but I want to put teams that I think are going to make my opponents think. Stuff that's going to make them try and really consider what do I want to use here. Force them into some decisions because the more decisions you can force your opponent into, the more mistakes they're likely to make. So if they make mistakes, then you can capitalize on those mistakes. One team that I think I'm going to try out first is right down here. This Night Sister team here with Asajj, Zombie, and Watt. Watt is one that he's really interesting. He can fit in a lot of places. In 3v3, it would seem like you would get the most out of his tech if you used him with GBA in some fashion. Like here, I've got GBA Spy and Watt, because GBA spawns another character. And then you can use all three of Watt's tech with the three characters. But for this, I want to try this. I want to see if this works. I figure she's actually got the Separatist tag, so she'll interact with him in a few extra ways. Zombie does his thing, her thing, whatever. So we'll see how that goes. And that should make them choose early on what to use to beat that team. I'm saving for offense. Here I'm saving for offense. This go around I'm saving those fellers for offense. You are offense. I can either go with the classic lineup, or I've split up, say, Hana Chewie under Akira lead, CLS with some other rebels, possibly even something like this. Because of his expose, it doesn't matter that this team doesn't have damage. They're all rebels, so they'll be doing expose on their basics. Here's a team that is going to go on defense. I'm just not quite sure where yet. It's not really one that I think that's going to make my opponent think, but it is one that they're going to need something good to clear it, because you've got, Relic 7s over here. I'm saving for offense. This will be saved for defense, but I think I'm going to put it up north. This could. So what I'm thinking right now is using this team, because I want to save Nest for offense, at least here in the beginning. But this team I kind of like. Again, Alpha is going to spawn the Brute. The Brute's going to be taunting the whole time, and Dooku will hide these three under stealth. I think that might be the call, might be the way to go. So we'll go ahead and set that as well. And then I'm thinking possibly putting Grievous here. Not that it's one that makes people think, but it's a tough team. It's a strong team. It's not as good in 3v3, I don't think, at least from what I remember. Of course, the last time we had 3v3, my Magma was Gear 8 instead of Relic 4, so maybe that makes a difference. I think that's the call. Just to force them to use something good here. Possibly burn Jedis, possibly burn something good. He's going to have to use something good to get past that. And now let's go ahead and defend fleet. And this is where I'll use teams that I know are pretty good. That's going to take something good. But not necessarily make you think. But it's one of those where I want teams up here that you have to take into account when choosing what to use down below. Because, like, you come up here, you look at these, you say, okay, I need CLS for this team. I need, Padme for this team. I need a cat to jump on my desk right in front of me as I'm trying to record a video. That's fantastic. Hi. Yes. If you're on my live stream right now, you see this sort of stuff all the time. Thanks, Tease. That was amazing. I think I'm also going to go ahead and stick to this team here right now. It's interesting because in 5v5, bounty hunters are super easy to defeat, but this is one of those teams that you're not going to be thinking about, not going to be considering until the very end. And if you're not careful, you'll actually run out of things capable of taking it down. I've seen many past opponents go through one-shot all my strongest teams and then get stuck on a team like this. Just the region is incredible, so if you don't have the damage available at the end of your roster, you can get stuck behind something like that. I'm not really sure what I want to put as the last team up here right now. So let me go ahead and fill in the back. So in the back, because I'm wanting to save a little bit extra for offense, my back row is probably not going to be the greatest. Like, I'll put this back there. Again, in the past, I've used this on defense, and it's not a great team in 5v5. It can be just completely slaughtered. But if you don't have what you need, there is enough regen here, and Zalbar can be annoying if you don't have something to control him with. And then Zalbar mission can just go to work. I have a few different variations for leaders. I'll just set this one for now. And I think that'll be okay. Another team that I want to see how it does is this, because Poggle and Geos in general are just sort of leftovers in 3v3, but he's got some interesting stuff on his lead and in his kit where it boosts droids. So like here, all Separatist allies have additional offense. That'll help Droideka and I guess B2, but mostly Droideka. And then droid allies recover 10% of their health whenever they attack out of turn or damage a target lock enemy. He attacks out of turn, and he applies target lock. So, I don't know. There might be some stuff here. He's got a few other tricks as well, where he has, since there's no GBA, there's not going to be Hive Mind, and Separatist allies without Hive Mind have additional offense, and then will also get stronger as they defeat stuff. Droideka can one-shot some people. It could snowball really quickly. I don't know. We'll see how that does. I'm hiding him in the back, though, because I do feel like it's probably one that's not going to be too hard, but obviously you want to focus down on him. Even without a tank, you still want to focus down on him, otherwise he'll go crazy. And as you're focusing on him, the hope is he'll go under damage immunity and maybe one-shot one of your characters. Alright, so we've got 3 spots left. I'll probably stick this on there. I'm not sure if that's my final one up front or in the back. I don't know. I want to try this on defense. I have no idea if it's going to work at all. It's got a tank in there. I don't know that it'll have the damage, but it's at the back of the line. I don't know what I would use it for on offense. So it's kind of a filler team. Maybe it'll do work. Maybe it won't. Let's see if we can find a different team other than this team that we can maybe put back. Oh, duh. I like this team, actually, a lot. Mine's underwhelming because this guy is not fully maxed out. At high relics, he can actually hit really hard. Right now, it's just an annoying team, and if you're at the end of your line, if you've expended all your roster, you can get stuck behind this team because both of these guys tank. This is a pre-taunt, so they're taunting at the start of the turn. And then Vandor's revive mechanics, if you can't get to Vandor, then you're going to time out on this team. So there's my back line. It's not intimidating at all, but considering what you're going to have to break through to get to that, to know that there's no threats back there, hopefully you make some mistakes here, and if not, hopefully I just bleed enough resources. And we can go ahead and put that first order team up here. And that will be the defense. We'll see how it do. So kind of the same vein as Bossk down here. It's a regen. They regenerate in their battles, so if you don't have the damage, it can be a little bit of a pain. The other hope here is just like the same reason I use them on defense in 5v5, it'll bleed banners, hopefully. Hopefully Kylo will get out there, do some AoEs, whack off some protection, and bleed banners. Kind of the same thing with his thermals. The hope here is just to give as strong a defense as you can, but saving yourself plenty for offense because you've got 11 teams that you have to go through on offense, right? So I'm saving 501st. I'm saving both Darth Revan and Jedi Knight Revan. I'm saving Padme. I'm saving CLS. I'm saving Trey. I'm saving all these high offense teams, and we'll see. You'll see that first, actually. We'll see. It goes live in 7 hours. Woo! We'll see. I don't know. 3v3's been a mixed bag, but it can be a lot of fun. You can get some crazy theory crafting going on here. We'll try out some of those other teams that you saw at some point. This might be the only video for this segment because I think I want to keep the same defense in all 3 rounds this go around, just to see what works and what doesn't work and get a bigger sample size. But going forward, I'll try and shift things up, shake things up. Eventually, I would like to get to a point where I am setting my defense based on what my opponent has on their roster. Like if they are missing something critical or some sort of deficit that I see there, I would like to tailor my defense to them. But first, I have to get a baseline. So this will be my baseline, and we'll see how they do. We'll see what works. We'll see what doesn't. We'll see what they overcommit to, what they underestimate, and we'll go from there. All right. Kick it back over to you, future Alan.
Thanks, past Alan. That was something. That was certainly something. I think we still have Moon hiding around here somewhere.
Yeah, I'm lurking here.
All right. So that was super fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I like the use of that What. I haven't seen anyone put What Tambor in with Sergeant Zombie. You've just got to assume that it puts the right tech on, because weirdly enough, there was a battle with Droidica that had a What in one of mine, and I thought that he would definitely put the weapon tech, but he didn't. He put the health pack on Droidica, which was just as effective. But it looks good. Shield tech is going to be an absolute nightmare to get through. And then weapon tech on Asajj is going to be nice. Shaak Ti is always a tough battle. It always gives people the fits. They've got to take in something. It's in 3v3, it's a throwaway team because you've got your General Skywalker there, and you can take in 2 clones, or you can even take in Ahsoka Tano. So Shaak Ti is always good. And so, yeah, I mean, it was a fairly solid defense. Now it's time to hear what they came up with to try and get through it.
Yeah, so that'll be the next part there. And I'll tell you that Asajj Zombie Watt, it does, no spoilers or anything, but it definitely makes an impact here in some of these matchups. So let's go ahead and kick it over to the website now. And let's get the title screen off the page there. Okay, so here's my first opponent. If you were with me on my live streams, you already know they set an extremely weak defense, and I mean super weak defense. We got 5 solo acts going on here with mighty strong banners in pretty much all of the encounters, and we blew right through it for 2485 banners. I think the most you can get if you get one shots in all 11 banners is like 2490 something. So we scored as high as you can. He came in here and no surprise took the Jedi trio against Grievous. That's what I did several times as well. It's a very good counter. Grievous is a tough team. It requires a tough counter. Jedi Knight Revan, Grandmaster Yoda, and Jolee Bindo, they just combine to just really hard counter that really well. And then
I find with 3v3 it works a little bit easier than it does with 5v5, and obviously you don't have Droidica in there, and there's no sort of weird variants with the BB-8 either. But yeah, I
no
certainly find that
BB-8,
in
no
3v3,
Watt, no Droidica.
no, the Jedi lineup is a whole lot more reliable, and that's when we come onto mine. That's why I kind of avoided that lineup as well. But I
Yeah.
mean, they have got to either use Jedi Knight Revan, or if they don't have a good Jolie, then they've got to use something harder like a
Well,
Darth Revan or a General Skywalker.
right, yeah. Now, of course, General Skywalker gets the full 5v5 Grievous team. It doesn't matter who's on there with Grievous. General Skywalker is going to just blow through it every time. It is the definition of a hard counter. Here's the funny thing. So remember, he had an extremely weak defense. He had literally everything for offense. Look at this. He takes Padme against that Asajj zombie Watt team. He fails, and then he just quits. He throws in the towel. He's done. He does not do another battle.
Yeah, with a score like that, I'm not surprised. Padme's a fairly good shout there. Did you take in Ahsoka? Oh, of course, because it's going to still taunt on. Yeah, so even with those dispels, it's going to be a rough.
Yeah, and he didn't use Ahsoka. He actually went with Shock as a third. So Padme, Anakin, and Shock T. Um,
Okay, I can see that.
but like even with that, he still managed to kill Watt, and then he got stuck behind Asajj and Zombie, I guess, and timed out. It was actually a timeout battle.
Oh, so he quit halfway through.
He timed out. He went the full 5 minutes and timed out, and then never attacked again. He
Yeah,
had
I mean, you've got
everything
to
on
know when to
offense.
throw in the. You've
Well,
got to know when to throw in the towel sometimes.
there's that, but also if you're going for Kyber, you know, you need those banners anyways. Because like you look at the score difference here, like he gave up probably a good 1,400 banners towards Kyber. And he should have been able to full clear. So I feel a little bad that he didn't keep going. Plus, it makes it really difficult to gauge the rest of it. But yeah, this is one of those where I think he just lost. He realized he wasn't going to win. And he just threw in the towel. Now, my second round character, if you remember from the live stream, he actually managed to attack first because I had to do that stream a little bit later the next day. Because we had other plans for that Friday. Those plans kind of fell through. And then I just wound up not streaming. You still with us?
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, I had some funny stuff with audio, so I've just reconnected.
Ah, okay, not a problem. So we're just talking about the second round where the guy had actually managed to attack first, and he put up a really good score, 24-62. He went through and just one-shot all my stuff. If you missed that, it's on my YouTube channel. It's here as highlights on Twitch. It was a fun matchup, very much back and forth. He went through and just one-shot everything, so it'll be fun to go through and kind of walk through to see how he did it and how what he did impacted banners. This is just probably he probably had like best case scenario against this defense, so that's really good benchmark for us. Hey Bull, how's it going? Glad to see you here. So the
Hello,
first thing,
Bull
yeah, Bull Marrow's joining us.
the
So
Warrington Wizard.
yeah, so the first battle that he took on was that Asajj, Watt, and Zombie, and I thought he came up with a really good counter to it. He used the Rebel Boys, CLS, Han, and Chewie. So he was able to stun Watt right off the bat. My Watt's an R7, so I don't think he probably killed him right off the bat. But he was able to then get around the taunts with CLS, all the assists from Chewie. It's got regen, so he finished pretty good with banners. Just lost one banner. So that was probably a 53 banner win, which is pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's probably the most effective counter, even taking in Darth Revan there. You probably lose 2 or 3 banners, so he's done really well with that regen protection, actually. So I
Yeah.
think that's probably the best counter to that score.
Yeah, that's a really really good one. And then he went up against my Newt Dooku and Geo Alpha squad, and for that he used his Treya, which is definitely a good idea. Scion can remove all the buffs and stuff, including all the invisibility, and eventually Nihilus can annihilate probably Geo Alpha first, and it's pretty good. He lost banners though. If you'll see, none of them ended up with any protection, but full health. So that's probably all the health steal that team gets and all the regen that way. But all in all, not a bad counter. Um,
Yeah,
not
Treya's
great for banners, but
no, Treya's always tough, but it does guarantee the one shot, and he knows that you're not going to really have a good other Geo team. So
yeah,
wherever you see Geo Brood Alpha, you may as well use not like the Sith Triumph anyway.
right.
So I mean
So you can
that's
isolate
probably
Brute.
exactly, and essentially that's her main job in that Grand Arena or in the 3v3 setting. Doesn't matter whether it's a Dooku lead or an Asajj lead or whatever it is. I think you do have to, because remember 3v3 it can go south very quickly. So as soon as you get that first deny, it just basically guarantees that win. And you don't
Mm-hmm.
want to be fucking around with a Newt team at the best of times, you know.
Yeah, you don't, and if your Treya should be tanky enough to where you're not really threatened by anything on that Newt Dooku and Alpha team, because they're not going to do enough damage to take you out. And they're definitely not going to do enough damage to beat Scion twice, because he'll have his held by hatred, of course. So
Exactly.
not a bad
The only
shout.
one,
Not
yeah,
great
the
for
only one I was
banners.
going to say
Uh huh.
possibly that can get through it is Droidica, but again, that'll likely come in a different team.
Yeah, yeah. Then he chose to take Padme up against Grievous. Now, I don't like it for the banner efficiency, because if you look there, he lost 4 banners off that fight, so that's only a 50 banner win. So that's one
Yeah,
reason why the Jedi Knight Revan is such a better counter to Grievous, is because they'll
yeah,
end up with near full banners. In this case, he lost 4 banners. I mean, he still got through it, so that's good. But
yeah. I certainly agree with the Jedi Knight Revan because, again, in 3v3, it's so much more manageable. Going through Magna Guard and then going through B2 and things like that. Okay, you're gonna take 2 or 3 big hits, two by killing the side ones, but again, it seems so much easier. Jedi Knight Revan is such a quick squad.
mm-hmm.
Grievous isn't really a quick character. You can mark him very quickly. It's sort of one of those things where, yeah, again, Padme, I don't even like it 5v5, let alone 3v3.
Yeah, for sure.
Padme gets bumped down. She's not really an A team anymore in 3v3.
Now there's
She's more.
one
She's
the
good on defense
one
though.
the one benefit that it has going up against the Grievous team is there's no B2 on my team, so it's not going to be constantly removing the stacks of protection on Padme like you would get in 5v5. So there's that.
Yeah, I mean, I also see it with B1 in there. There's going to be a huge amount of attacks out of turn, so it is hard to actually get through and damage them. But it sounds like they had a long night on there, losing all protection and
Mm-hmm.
what, losing one health as well, or one
Yeah,
wasn't full
so
health.
yeah, and I'm gonna guess. My guess would be that Anakin didn't manage to stick a buff immunity on Magna, or um, or just Magna was cleansing it so quickly, because for them to get through all the protection and half of Anakin's health, obviously Grievous probably went nuts a few times, and
Yeah, or a few times very quickly. So if they
yeah,
were, so like if, I mean, obviously it works a little bit funny with the stacks, but you could have built up stacks and then they all turn into courage. You can kill off B2 and then the other one very quickly, and there's no actual way around it either. So yeah, it could have been
yeah,
2 hits very close together.
yeah. It had to have been something, and it probably was right towards the end, I'm guessing. Um, but then he moved on to the top. So this was the bottom row. He cleared the bottom row, saw what was in the back, and then moved up to the top He took on Maitreya team using just Darth Revan and Bastila and Shan. That certainly does the trick. He lost, looks like 3 banners because Basila's missing both protection and health. So maybe not great banners. It would have taken it from a 55 down to a 52. So not great, not bad. Got through it. And then here's what he used against that Newt team that I was talking about that I was really curious to see how it would go. He went with his Empire. So you got Thrawn, EP, and Vader. And I like that counter because Thrawn gives you a lot of control. You can choose to take B2 out of the fight. You can choose to take Droideka out of the fight. You can see at some point Droideka got a big hit off on Vader because he's missing protection, but otherwise just 1 banner loss.
That's pretty good because I would have thought that's a fairly soft counter. Things can go wrong very quickly against attacking that squad. So
Yeah.
and there's a lot of cleanse there from GeoBrood Alpha as well. I know you've got the fracture.
Well, that's not
But
Alpha. That's Poggle, if you remember. Is Poggle B2 and Droideka.
oh yes, sorry, my apologies.
Now,
No, I thought
of course, Poggle also has a cleanse. So
yeah, so there is a lot of cleansing there. So again, it's tough unless the the potency is very good and you are landing those stuns which with Emperor Palpatine can be a little bit ropey at times, at the best of times actually.
yeah, but I still like it because I feel like with Thrawn being able to choose who you take out, and there's no tanks down here, so you can fracture anyone you want right off the bat. I mean, I like it. Obviously, it works. It works pretty well. I would kind of count it as kind of expensive because this Newt team. I mean, let's be honest. It was a bunch of throwaway characters that just don't fit in 5v5 anymore. So throw them
Yeah,
together,
it's
they
certainly
make
a
a
net
decent little team.
Yeah, I was just saying there, it's certainly a net win. It's definitely could have been used on a lot more dangerous team, but it looks or it sounds like this guy's just gone for hardest count as possible, and
Oh
maybe not
yeah,
the there's a couple of banners there that were missing, but again that's a fairly solid counter.
yeah, for sure. And it was one that he used after he had already seen the whole board, so he probably already had in his mind what he was wanting to do. Like Malik solo against OR, we see that he solos OR in 5v5. Of course, he'll do it here in 3v3. I did it in some of my matches 3v3. Um, so that all worked out real well and not surprising. And certainly, in my opinion, the whole getting in as many solo fights as you can, you're placing 11 teams on defense. It's hard to come up with something that isn't going to be soloable, right? I don't know that there's 11 teams without completely neutering your offense that's going to prevent all solos. So this is one of
Correct.
those
Yeah.
that going forward, one thing I might try to do would be to see if there's anything I can do to draw out some of these solo characters.
It's always going to be tough with the amount of teams out there. Again, the only sort of nice thing about it is if they are using it for solo, that character isn't there on defense. So their Malik isn't
Right.
on defense, or their Nest isn't on defense.
Yeah, for
Or
sure.
one that I used a lot of the time is so it is a fairly even trade-off. So again, even though they're getting the solo, you're still going to score a lot better banners against their, if they've placed Palpatine, Basti, and Malik. If again, that's a tough team. So,
Yeah, yeah.
again, you're going to make it up on the other side, and they're going to lose it on the defensive side.
Good night, Yogbear. Thanks for joining us. Yogbear with the good night and the butt spot, changing that to butt night.
Yeah, I had my first run-in with the butt bot. It does some funny old things because you can't see what it does
It's
until
uh,
it's too late.
yeah, yeah. It sneaks in there, and it doesn't do it to everything. It just sneaks in there on you. So the next thing he did
Mm.
was he took out my Wookiee squad with Nest. Nest is a very good counter for those types of squads if you can afford it. If you save her for offense, she is a fantastic choice. I'm pretty sure I used Nest against some scoundrels as well. She ignores taunts, so she can always focus down on Vandor. Um, Maybe expensive, but it works and it doesn't matter. It gets you as high a banners as possible. So definitely a good shout there. The next one is no surprise at all. It's Jedi Training Rey versus First Order, classic matchup. Um, Full banners. And then he did the same thing with my Huck squad in the back, but he used Finn lead with the Resistance heroes, which those heroes are actually really good just in and of themselves, even if you don't have Galactic Legend Rey. The two heroes, their kits work really, really well together, and there's a lot of regen there. So again, another max banner, easy clear on both the First Order squads. So that was great for him. Obviously, not for me, but. And then coming down here on these last two is where I feel like he made a mistake and lost a few banners where he might not have needed to lose banners. The first one is the Bounty Hunters, and the second one is that Shock T. Shock T was the last team that he went up against. And he had two major teams left. He had Jedi Knight Revan left, and he had Gas left. General Anakin Skywalker. Thing is, General Skywalker can solo that Bounty Hunter team, and Jedi Knight Revan can easily take care of those clones. So I feel like he cost himself some banners because you can see here where 5 sacrifice triggered. So he lost 3 banners there. He lost a 4th banner from Arc Trooper losing protection, and then a 5th banner with gas. So he lost 5 banners here, and this was a 9 banner match.
Yeah, it was a bit of a squeaker, but that's pretty rough. But yeah, I mean, so I can't see the screen. So did he take Skywalker against Shakti rather than the Bounty Hunters?
Right. Instead of soloing the bounty hunters with General Skywalker, he took him and 2 clones against that Shock T, and then Jedi Knight Revan and Grandmaster Yoda against the bounty hunters. Which, I mean, obviously both of them do their job, but if it were me, and if you were with me on my live streams from my Grand Arena offensively, you saw me each round use those solo characters, and since General Skywalker can solo those bounty hunters, I do that each and every time because it's all
Yeah,
about
and
banner efficiency.
yeah, it saves you. It saves you from using rebels. It saves a bit of a sweater if
Hmm.
you're trying to get it through with First Order.
Did we lose you? All right, I think we lost Moon there. He might come back, but just in case he doesn't, we'll continue on. So ships are ships. My my Grievous fleet managed to kill a couple and strip some protection off the others, so not bad. All in all, again, it was a 9-point win, so not bad for round 2. You back with us, Moon?
Yeah, I had the same issue with Discord. It just goes like muted weirdly. So, but it's quite easy. I can just hang up and call back on.
The suspense is killing us because he cut out after call back on. Dun dun dun.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, it's just Discord dropping out, I think, or the internet this time of night.
Okay. Oh, we've got 1 round left. And then you said that you had some interesting fights as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, certainly well, more so because I pretty much kept the same defense from round
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3. I tweaked it a little bit. You know me, I'm pretty lazy. If it works, I'm going to keep it as it is.
Right. If it works, why
Not,
change it?
yeah, not try and overthink it too much. And
All
but
right.
I
Good
mean,
night, Bull.
it,
Thanks for joining us. Bull Marrow
it
is
was.
heading off.
I don't blame. It's what is it, 12 o'clock local time, and so yeah, it was. So it's worth having a look at rounds 2 and 3 because round one was a bit of a get your feet wet. By round 2 and 3, I sort of got it, I think. But yeah, we'll certainly have a look at mine, sort of rounds 2 and 3 anyway. But more so, I was able to full clear everything, and
Yeah.
even dropped a couple of battles as well. So I did it the hard way, but there was still 3v3 the first season. There's a lot of testing as well,
There's a
and
lot of testing.
yeah, and not one opponent was able to break through the defense. So we'll have a look at those
Nice.
coming up as well.
That's fantastic. So my round 2 and 3, both of them cleared. Round 2 was able to, as we just saw, one-shot everything, although he cost himself some banners. And then I was able to turn around one-shot all of his stuff, but I used more banner efficiency. And what you just said is the name of the game, I feel. If you can full clear your opponent, then you put yourself in the best possible position to win. So I would always go through and set your defense based on what you know that you want to use, because you know you got to get through 11 um, teams. And one of the things that I gauge how strong was my defense, how weak was my defense, was it balanced enough? Is okay, when I finished fighting on offense, how much did I have left in the tank? If you find yourself with like a bunch of teams that you didn't use, a bunch of characters that you didn't use, you can probably take a look at your defense and beef it up a bit. 3 week.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to have that more so with 5 versus 5. I have too many options, if anything,
Yeah.
come those last 2 or 3 battles. 3v3, I felt like I'd got it just right because if I'd lost 1 or 2 battles, I had just enough. So I had a little bit of
Yeah.
insurance, but not an overkill yet.
Yeah. The only time that I really had a whole lot left over was round 1, where I faced that super weak defense and I was able to get 2 more solo wins than I did in the subsequent 2 rounds. I really didn't leave a whole lot left in the tank. So I kind of feel like my defense also fits in that soft spot. It was strong enough to bleed enough banners and force my opponents into enough decisions to where I was able to then turn around and beat them. Ooh. Okay, there we go. Huh, the website looked like it had died on me there for a second. But so for Pizza the Hut, this was one that I was able to go first, and then he went second. So he already knew that I had dropped 1 battle, so he knew that he had some wiggle room. He started. He kind of bounced back and forth between my top row and my bottom row, which I thought was really interesting. He didn't go to clear the bottom front row first, which is what I like to do because I want to know everything that I'm going to have to deal with, right? So for me, I'm
Yeah,
very interested in seeing um, what you got in the back. What you got in
yeah.
the back.
I mean, if he's a really big brainer, he may have sort of already worked out what you'd used for offense based on his defense. I very much doubt it though, and it's a little bit of an odd technique, bouncing up and down rather than just going for the three, the bottom territory, and then making a game plan.
Yeah. Now, one thing I can see for doing that is if you know 100% okay, I know this team, I know what my counter is for this team. Let me just go ahead, use my counter, and feel good about it, which I feel is what he did here. Because the first thing that he did was go up against um, my Night Sister team, the Mommy and friends. So Mommy, Zombie, and Daka, and he just took his Geos in there. That's a really good, strong counter for that team. Um, I used that, cleared it. Not banner good at all. He lost, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 banners because he only had 1 character with full health. Nobody had any full protection. So that cost him a lot of banners right off the top, and I don't even think he realized it. Afterwards, I had messaged him and told him, check out your defenses, yada yada yada. And he knows that he underestimated some of my what he called weaker teams, but I don't think he realized that he also, in addition, wound up costing him banners here. The next thing that he tried was that Asajj Zombie Watt team, and he took first order against it, which I thought was an interesting choice. What do you think of that?
So is that an unmasked lead
Yep.
with Kylo and Kylo OG and what, Fox or First
Yep.
Order officer?
You got it in one. Yeah, Crew, Kylo, and Fox against a Relic 2 Asajj, a Relic 2 Zombie, and a Relic 7 Watt. So if
Yeah.
you're him, what's your thought process there picking that team?
It depends how much he's used already. I can see why he's. What was that? Bottom row?
That's bottom row, and he's only gone through one team at this point. He used his Geos
Yeah.
against the other Night Sisters.
Yeah, I can see why, because it's a cheaper counter than Rebels, or it's a cheaper counter than Darth Revan, or whatever it is. He doesn't know what you've got in the back.
Yeah,
And
and he didn't
again,
lose; he just timed out. So
yeah,
there is that.
I can see why. And I mean, I'm sort of my own worst enemy there, trying to get through as cheaply as possible, and it goes south pretty quickly because you haven't factored in something like
Yeah.
Asajj's ramping offense, or it
Yep.
a case of zombie doesn't stay stunned for long.
I will say my typical counter to an Asajj Zombie +1. Normally, I see like an Alkalite there. Um, my typical go-to is the Womps. We've seen that on my live streams. If you join me on those, tomorrow I'll be doing another live stream for round one offensive. I like to take Womps in on theirs, but there's been times that I've underestimated Asajj and that womping that ramping
Yeah.
offense that she I've neglected her for too long, and then she just comes in and one shots my Wampa, and it's like,
No,
oh, ew,
yeah, I got caught out in round one by that one.
yeah. So that's always fun. That's always a problem. And then this is interesting. I didn't know. The next thing he did was he went back up after he failed that. So that, by the way, that he lost that one. His first order were not good enough to beat Asajj and Zombie. He killed Watt, but then I guess he got stuck behind Zombie. Um, but he timed out on that one. Then he goes back up top, and against the Shock T Fives and Echo, he took gas. And I didn't know that General Skywalker could solo a Shock T team. So there's one to keep in your back pocket.
Yeah, because that's another one that it's a very tough team. You've got to go with an A team against that one.
Yeah. So it's kind of good. And this is one reason why it's really important to, when you're in the game, get on here, pull up your history, review it, and you can learn a few things. I've learned a few things just by going through and seeing what people chose to use against me. So Shock T clones can be soloed by General Skywalker, and that Shock T team, at least in my case, my Shock T clones is a stronger team than Bounty Hunters. So if you're looking for a gas solo, obviously you want him to be able to solo the strongest thing that he can solo. You take your banners and you take out as strong a team as possible. Definitely a good choice.
Yeah, I'll give him that. That's a good use of it because there's a lot of other teams that will trip up against.
Yeah, for sure. Then he took out. Now this, I love this. All three of my opponents used something different to take out my Grievous team. He went with EP, Darkseid Bastila, and Malik, which is interesting. And also weighed in on this guy sacrificing banners because he could have done a Malik solo somewhere else. But he used that team to take on Grievous, and it looks like he lost 1, 2, 3 banners off of it. So maybe not banner efficient. it looks like I even got close to killing EP. So far, I still feel Jedi Knight Revan is the strongest counter to Grievous in 3v3.
Yeah, definitely. Because again, when you remember the stuns aren't going to stick on Grievous, so it's a little bit of an oversight, I think, on his part there.
Yeah.
When it comes down to just his health, which is where the main battle is taking place. I think that's a little bit of an oversight. I don't, and again, Palp is very squishy as well, so he's going to get. Or there's a chance that if he goes in with a crawl, he's going to get mollywopped one.
Yeah, right. Now, to that end, though, when you get Grievous and it's just him and he's down to his health, you got Malik there who can just life drain him.
Yeah,
So you're
correct. I
probably not
mean,
too worried about stuns, but still, I mean, the point remains Grievous has his AoE, B1 has his AoE, Magna Guard technically also has an AoE. It's not very strong, but like, it's gonna, if you don't have a way to regenerate your protection, it's gonna bleed banners. So Grievous did
correct.
his job for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
completely.
and not just that, but you're also costing yourself a max 56 banner solo with Malik. So that's the other reason I don't like that, because you're costing yourself a lot of potential banners there.
Yeah, I mean the Malik, the putting Malik in there is basically your ticket to ride. It will get you through that Grievous squad, no problem. I have learnt the hard way from running the Nuke squad in Arena that Malik is the worst enemy for a Grievous, and 1v1 it's an absolute nightmare. So as I
Right.
said, a 3v3 even more effective. So as I said, this is the little bit of insurance on there.
Yeah.
But as I said, anyone else in there, it's certainly not as safe, if doable at all with a Palpatine lead. So without controlling turn meter. So as I said, it's an interesting choice, but not certainly not one I would have made.
No. Jedi Knight Revan all day, every day. That's going to be your most banner efficient. That's going to be your strongest. Now, we'll have to see what else he has on his roster to see if he had any other counters as we go through here. So he started up top, cleared a team. He went down south, failed. He cleared a second team up top. Then he came back down. So you can just see he's bouncing back and forth. I don't really understand that strategy. Then he tried against the Asajj Zombie, because that's still up. And he used a Thrawn lead with Shore Trooper and Death Trooper. I love that team for control. And
Yeah,
if you've invested into Death Trooper, he hits really hard as well. It didn't work here for him though, and the only thing that I can think of is one thing I've noticed is Thrawn's fracture doesn't stay on as long in 3v3 because you don't have enough other Empire squads doing special maneuvers to kill his turn meter.
no, exactly. And I can see why, because even after that first kill on Zombie, you're then allowed to go straight into Deathmark. But remember, with her healing ability, she will certainly get rid of that, or cleansing, I think it
Yeah,
is, as well. She will just get rid of that,
not
and
just
then your
that,
Deathmark
but
is.
so you fracture Zombie, you kill Asajj for the first kill. If you don't kill Asajj using Death Trooper's terminate ability,
Yeah,
then Zombie just reses her right back and you can't deathmark.
yeah, and that's the real issue. So again, timing is very key on this. Not a dice that I'd like to roll.
No, and it did not work out very well for him here at all. He did fail that one. And then he tried something else. He did finally get through on the third attempt. It's an interesting team that he used. He used a Bastila lead, which in 3v3 I love light side Bastila lead. It's always been a really strong lead, but I feel like it's an even stronger lead here. Party Kirby, cheers. Okay, I guess Cody's bored. But they used Bastila lead with Hoda, and those two combined will pretty much supercharge whoever the third is. And in this case, he brought in Ahsoka. So with Ahsoka, you've got a bit of healing, you've got a bit of damage. more importantly, you've got the cleanse, the constant cleansing. So I can see get through constantly cleansing off that taunt from zombie, and then getting at Asajj. I still feel like it would have been risky though, because there's not a whole lot of options for controlling zombie aside from buff immunity and
Dispel from
dispel, the constant
from-
dispels. The dispels are nice, but I don't know.
Mm,
Normally, I like to
if
bring
you land,
Womps in with these two.
yeah, if you land the stun with Basti, that's another way of doing it. And then Ahsoka will use her dispel each and every turn to, or like to assist whenever someone else does a special, I think. But as I said, it's a little bit of a risky one.
Yeah, I think it was risky. It paid off for him here, so obviously can't critique it too hard. But I feel like with a zombie, I really want to bring in somebody who's going to do some AoE just in case I need something, or something that's going to hard control zombie. But still, got through it, so good on them. And then they only had one team left down south. They still went back up north. So bouncing back and forth, I don't really get it. And they went with Jedi Training Rey versus Bounty Hunters, which is an age-old counter. It looks like it didn't go all that well for him because he lost R2 completely, and then he lost protection on the other two. So that's 5 banners that he lost there. Any idea what he could have done better there? Maybe somebody other than R2. Maybe somebody who can heal or cleanse. You still with us, Moon?
Yeah, I've got the old babies woke up, so I'm
Aw,
gonna have
baby
to pin
Moon.
to a quick.
Oh no. Poor sweet baby. Alright, so while he is taking care and being Daddy Moon, from there he went up against my other top team here, which is my first order team, which he decided to underestimate, apparently. And I don't know how strong his Wampa is. I'd have to go and look. Because I feel like Wampa should. Oh, but Wampa couldn't get stun locked. That's probably the problem that he ran into. He's got an old Ben lead with Xeris, so there's no damage there. So he's fully relying on Wampa to be his damage. And my team probably was able to stun lock Wampa, or Wampa just wasn't able to ramp up and do enough damage. He did manage to kill one, and then he cleaned up with some leftover resistance. 3PO is always a great choice. Personally, I prefer to run 3PO with Rebels because he'll be constantly putting up those exposes. But I guess I know Finn's lead does something with exposes. I don't remember exactly what since they changed it. And then we have another Traya versus that Newt squad and another 3-banner bleed. So even though there's a hard counter here, I still like it because it kills 3 banners. So they use this probably the best counter to it. They're going to cost them 3 banners. I'll take that all day, every day. I don't know if I'm going to continue trying this one for a few more rounds or if I want to shake up how I use GBA. I've got a few options that I would like to look at. I kind of want to try GBA Spy Watt at some point as well. We'll see if I'll do that this time or if I want to get just a little bit more data on this. Because again, like if this is going to be the go-to counter, I'll take that each and every time because that's 3 banners that they're losing each time. So I kind of like that. Ships are ships. He did better than the last guy. He only lost 2 banners there. He had the back row open. He had no problems there. He used the Rebel Boys against that Newt team. Way overkill for what that is. Han probably killed something right off the bat. They would be able to burn through that super easy, no problems at all. It looks like I probably got a hit off on CLS at some point, which that's always nice. So it did cost him one banner, but not bad. I'll take that. This is literally just using what you got left over. And then against that Hux team, he used a Rex lead with fives and Plo Koon. I have no idea what Plo Koon brings to the table in that fight, but it did wind up costing him either 3 or 4 banners. There's a little bit missing there, but usually you can get away with a little bit of missing. But it still cost him 3 banners, so not bad for a team that literally has no other. He brings a chair to the table. Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Tankini. And then against here, well, this is a case of he had plenty of strong stuff left over, but these could have been solos. I've used it solo on offense. We saw the last guy, he soloed these teams. This guy put Nest on defense, so he didn't even have her as a possibility here. But these should have been just easy solo acts. All right, Rants, have a good night. Probably going to wrap up here pretty soon since that's the end of my GAC defense. So thanks for coming out. Thanks for hanging with me. And we'll see you next time, Rants. I don't know if Moon is still here or not. He might be busy with Baby Moon. We'll give him just a few moments before ending stream. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something, maybe get some inspirations on something that you would like to do on your defense. I know a lot of people do not like 3v3 at all. And I understand that. It's weird. Things are different. Things don't work the way that maybe they should, or maybe what you're used to seeing. Things are definitely different, but I like it quite a bit. I think it's fun. This match could have gone so different. You can see here it's just a 9-point. But there's quite a few times where he cost himself quite a few banners. Like if he had gone Jedi Knight Revan here, and he had gone Padme here, and then Gas Solo here, I think he could have taken it. Just those 3 changes, I think, could have taken it.
And I'm back.
Welcome back. Yeah, I think the round 2, if he had done 3 things differently, I think he would have won that match. I think if he would have taken Jedi Knight Revan against Grievous, Padme against Shaak Ti, and then Gas Solo against the Bounty Hunters, I think he would have won.
Yeah, I think, well, again, and then, yeah, it's he knew the score to beat, so I don't get why he didn't go Jedi Knight Revan.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah. Well, keep in mind he attacked first in this case, so he didn't know the score to beat.
Ah, okay, right. Oh, so where are we back on yours still, or on mine?
I just wrapped up actually, so do we want to head over to yours and take a look?
Yeah, we can do. Yeah.
All right, so we'll head over
Yeah,
to our
that's
guild.
round two, round
Oh,
2 and 3 are the ones of interest.
Here is your profile. We'll head to your GAC history. So round 1's not very interesting. I mean, you
No,
got some
round
good
1.
defensive holds there.
Yeah, you can have a look at those actually. But as I said, I tweaked up a little bit for
Yeah.
round 2 and round 3.
All right, well, we'll take a look at round 2. Was there any battle in particular you wanted to look at?
I mean, round 1 was probably the most holds. Weirdly, I think it's probably worth just flying through them. I mean, I decided to use what Tam bought in with Grievous and in with who else did I put him in with? Grievous and IG 100, IG Magna Guard, didn't I? And the whole thinking was, well, obviously, with your Jedi Knight Revan, again, it's an easy 60 banner, not 60, 54 banners. So trying to limit this and make a hard decision, because I think when you put what in with Grievous, you've now got to go with Darth Revan, or you've got to go with General Anakin Skywalker.
Right. For sure. I don't even see your Grievous on here. Did he not attack your Grievous in round
Yeah,
one?
first round he didn't. Yeah, correct.
Oh, so he just said, "Fuck this, I got nothing."
Yeah, I think there was a what was it? A
I do see
mute
where
lead length.
I see where he used Jedi Knight Revan right off the bat against Night Sister, so that might have been partly what it was.
Quite possibly. But yeah, that was it. I think there was a mute lead and then the gas that was still left in round.
Yeah, I see that you put fives here in a clone squad with 5 Echoes and Rex. You want to?
Yeah, so it's more to do with the leadership, 40% defense, which is huge against fives, and then obviously you've got Rex in there as well, who can just, you know, if he goes off, he's super quick, and he goes off with that big AOE. There's only really two teams that get through this, and that's First Order, and also Malak Solo, or something very very tough like Rebels.
Nice. Yeah, that seemed to get quite a few holds, and definitely looks like it gave him fits. So that's definitely an interesting one. I might steal that from you.
Just leaves you a little bit shy on attacking with General Anakin, so I had to use Ahsoka and Arc Trooper.
Yeah, which kind of fits into what I've got going on. It also leaves you with Shock T though on offense that you could use somewhere, I
Correct.
suppose.
Yeah. 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 You can gas Solo, and then the problem that I had in round two was that he put his Relic 7 gas on defense, so
Oh
managed to
yeah,
get through. Yeah. So that was the issue that I had, but we'll come to that.
yeah. So we're looking at round two now. So we'll go through. So here's your Grievous, Watt, and Magna, and he tried Padme against that and killed 2 of them, but obviously got a hold, which holds are always huge because he had to ultimately use Padme and Malik to take him down. That's 2 top tier things.
Exactly. So it's restricting his banners, and I get like 20 banners to lose on 3v3 is hard to make up. It's a little bit easier on 5v5 getting away with a loss,
Right.
but on 3v3 it's too hard to make those back a lot of the time.
It really is. The banners, the ceiling on banners is a lot lower because the most you can get anywhere is going to be just 56 banners.
Yeah, correct.
And that's only going to happen with like a Malik lead. So, yeah, looked pretty good there. Was there anything else in round two you wanted to specifically take a look at? I see when they got to the end of their roster, they had nothing for your Vandor team, which is similar to mine. We just have 2 different leads.
Yeah, so I really like the Stormtrooper Han lead, simply for defense is up when they're above 50% health, and then offense, it's like 50% offense when it's below 50. So again, getting through Stormtrooper Han, getting through L3 with an extra 40% defense is incredibly hard. And obviously you've got Vandor Chewbacca doing some work there as well.
Yeah.
Still not happy with him. Made a tough decision today as to whether to go his gear or I see, or whether it was going to go to First Order. So I eventually chose First Order because that's another team that I do tend to put on defense. So I tended to just bulk that up a little bit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It looks good. Like your other First Order team got a hold against Ewoks. A lot of holds. I'm seeing a lot of holds, which is not what I got on mine very much at all. But again,
Well, I think
we don't really know because the first guy just didn't care, didn't care to continue. So who knows how he would have done.
yeah, that's very true, actually.
And then we come down here to round 3. It looks like they were able to get through clones right off the bat, but they burned Darth Revan. Um, you know,
Yeah, which I think
they
was
used
an
gas
interesting
against
choice.
Grievous.
As I said, you putting that what in there just completely restricts the Jedi Knight Rev encounter. So again, if they're using their gas on that Grievous squad, job done. That's what I want.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing right here. Just looking at the first 4 battles he did, he burned 4 of his probably best squads right off the bat. And that would have left him short everywhere else because you see that's where the cards start to crumble after that.
Yeah, and this was the guy that declined the chat invitation afterwards as well.
Oh, okay. He was upset that he lost.
Yeah, I think he couldn't get through that Vandor team, and there was one other as well, I think, if I remember.
Yeah, he struggled with the Vandor team. He struggled with a few of them. Did he ever go back? Yeah, he cleaned up the Geos, which is what he
Yeah,
failed on a couple
that was
times.
missing Geo Brood Alpha by the second battle, so the rest is fairly easy.
Yeah, but you can see kind of where your defense here, it was strong enough up front to force him to use super hard counters, and obviously he wasn't really trying real hard to be banner efficient, I suppose. But he goes through that, and then he gets to a point where he starts to fall apart. I do love putting Droideka there with the Geos because that's going to prevent your typical counters there.
Yeah, and more so. So this Geo Spy in this one is a little bit of a distraction. Obviously, he doesn't have offense up from Poggle. He doesn't have all those goodies for sort of dispelling with 5 people compared to 3. So he's the kind of distraction here because people are going to be focused on him, sleeping on Droideka, under damage immunity as well. And another one that you can put in there as well is Jango Fett.
Right.
So you imagine Geobrood Alpha, Jango Fett, and Droideka. You've got two out of 4 characters that you can't actually hit.
Yeah. That's definitely
But
interesting because you got that damage immunity off the bat with Django. And then you got Droideka going in and out of damage immunity.
yeah, but yeah, Droideka did absolutely brilliantly. And again, by the time sort of again having to take those hard counters in down south, I kind of wanted to show Grievous up north, but I might switch him down to south this time. I think they were able to see the board too easily, so I might switch him down to south this coming one.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that goes. I do try to force them into whatever decisions I can force them into. So, like for me, when it comes to what I play south versus north, south, I want to put the stuff that's going to make them think and force them into decisions. Up north, I just want something where it's like, okay, you might have a hard counter for this, you might know what your hard counter is, but I want you to just hold off on that and keep that in the back of your mind.
Exactly, and not have something else in reserve possible.
Yeah. Yeah, so definitely interesting. It would also be interesting if we could like reverse our opponents and have your opponents face my defense, my opponents face your defense, and see if they get equal results or how much of it's matchup based, how much of it is strategy, how much of it is research. Now that we've got one round out of the way, I'm going to be taking a look, see what my opponents have, see if there's any deficits on their roster, see if there's anywhere where maybe I can do something a little bit different. But thinking about what I use on offense and what I placed on defense, I don't know. Like, I don't know how much I want to change it up because obviously, like, well, what did I pull on the defense? You put something on defense, you got to bring something to replace it on offense. Um, it kind of gets a little bit difficult there, right? Moon. Are you back?
Yeah, back now.
All right. Do you hear the question?
I mean, I think I got the gist of it, but I mean, I'm pretty happy with that defense, and I'd like to see more people go up against it. Like, as
Yeah.
much as I would like to change it, I think I'm going to be keeping it the same, you know?
Yeah. I think there's a lot to be said for trying to get as much data on these stores of and obviously it's working for you. Why don't change it if it ain't broke? As long as people are sitting here going for it and not breaking through, there's very little reason to
Exactly.
like shift it up, or at least there's little motivation to shift it up.
Correct. And so I think certainly first round opponent, I'll probably keep it the same, and I'll see how much work is being put in. But even if they do have a look at what I've placed, I'm still fairly confident that there's enough there for me to clear and to give them a tough time with banners.
Yeah, for sure. And banners are the name of the game. We saw it there with my round two. Um, Here you just got full stops, which that's always nice. My defenses don't seem to get full stops very often. And I'm not sure if it's am I just not putting in a strong enough defense um or what. But I mean, we both put in two teams of Night Sisters. We both put in, some amount of clones. We both put in Grievous. I know that in some cases you've just got stronger teams in some places than I have, which is fair. Like I know I don't have Django built up, so he's not an option for me. I know that your spy is a lot better than mine, so that might be one place where I wouldn't necessarily be able to replicate the same results. But yeah, like it'll be interesting. I might shift mine around a little bit. I might not. We'll see. I haven't set my defense yet for round one. I was going to record that tomorrow for the next defense and review segment.
Sounds good. Right. Well, I think my work here is done anyway, and I better shoot off to bed
All
because
right.
it's nearly 1 a.m. local time. So thank you very
Yeah.
much for having me, Army
Oh,
Hutchins.
absolutely.
If you do want to check out any of the battles, I'm sure Army will link my channel as well.
Yeah,
And
definitely
again,
check him out.
it's, it's always a bit of a shit show, but
It
we get through it in the end, you know.
it is by far the best Star Wars ASMR on YouTube.
And that is a title that I relish. No one else does it.
No one else does it quite like Moon, so there you go. All right, so
Right.
without further ado, I guess we will call it here. And good luck, everyone, on your GACs. This one coming up. If you hate 3v3, you're not alone. A lot of people hate 3v3, and hopefully, maybe we've inspired you to something. You know, hopefully, maybe you don't feel quite as lost in the sauce now. And if this can give you any idea of how to maybe fix up your own 3v3 to do something a bit different and maybe get through some of those tough calls, tough battles.
Yeah, because essentially we're all still learning at this very early stage. It only happens once every 5-6 months. So again, it's all about refreshing. The more battles that you can see, and the more counters that you can see, the better.
Yep. And he cut out again. But yeah, like he's saying, the more counters you can see, the better you can hone in your counters and get everything working. So I think that is going to do it for us. I'll go ahead and end the stream. Thank you everybody for coming out, and hope you had a good time. Hope you learned something. So thanks for hanging out with us today. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I'll be doing offense phase after work, so we'll be here. All right. Thank you. Have a good day.